if we know the consequences of raising kids in a non-nuclear family, a non-nuclear home, why are we still...
Tell me what the consequences, because my son has been raised in a non-nuclear home. I don't see any consequences with my child.
Well, of course, and a lot of
probably wouldn't,
that's the
though.
problem.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
How old
yeah,
is he?
but 6.
You probably wouldn't yet.
You wouldn't yet still.
That's an evil thing
Yeah,
to
you
say.
No, because when I look,
it does take a village, obviously, to raise a child. It's not fair to say, because obviously I do know, obviously, other men that have been raised in non-nuclear homes, that it's obviously, yes, we understand there's struggles for everyone. If you don't know your dad, you're still gonna want to know who your dad is. You're gonna grow up, but everyone has struggles.
But we're seeing a lot of problems pop up in society as a consequence of, and obviously correlation isn't always causation, but so like...
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No. So like there was a BBC study that's saying that 1 in 5 kids are now being born, over the last 20 years, 1 in 5 kids are being born and they're in single parent homes, yeah. And they're saying that based on the studies, they I feel it was called the, what's it called? It was called the millennial cohort, where they took a bunch of kids from single parent homes and every year they tested them to see how they're doing in terms of numeracy, literacy, depression, all that kind of stuff. Spikes in the kids that are born in single parent homes. So of course you might not be able to see it, but a lot of us seem to have this belief that, do you know what? Even if I have a kid, I can just do it alone, and there's no consequences.
And over 70% of the black community specifically, are born in are raised in single parent homes.
And we
So
see the
what
consequences.
type of effects? You said you was raised in a single parent house. What type of effects do you feel, since there's such high statistics? Do you feel any of that?
I think now
yourself
as a
growing up?
yeah, but I think as a big man, like I think academically, even when I was doing whatever I was doing, I've always excelled. So I've always looked to further myself. But when I look at like a lot of my friends that grew up in single parent households, like my guys that grew up who were Muslim, a lot of their families stay together. And obviously not just talking about it might be Islam is the factor, but a lot of them, they never got involved in what we got involved in. But now when I'm looking at, I was talking to Eddie about, so many of my friends have gone to prison, they've been killed, and they're all from like single parent households. I'm not talking about, I'm talking anecdotes of, because that's just what happened in my life. When I see the things that we got involved in, and now when I see, say, my little brother, he's got 2 parents there. Some of the things I was doing, my brother could never do.
Doesn't even imagine it.
Because my mum was so stressed out trying to, like, she raised me and my sister on like 27.5K a year. Like, she was never around with like the way she could never know what we were doing. But see my little brother, I'm seeing, like everything's doing, where you going here, why are you going there? Exactly, everything is, the whole scope is seen. Then the other thing you see is what I thought masculinity was when I was younger, because, you know, when you get to a certain age, you're not going to listen to your mum. You're seeing older guys from the block who are telling you, like, if a guy treats you in this way, this is how you have to respond. And you're thinking, that makes sense. I respect this guy. This guy's violent, so violence gets you respected. But then when you have a father, your father's just like, whoa, hold on. That's not what actual man is. And when you look at, when you're like young, 14, olders in your block are like 19. What is that? It's not an older, that's still a kid.
And one of the things I speak about is about like black men taking on what I would call effeminate traits. And I feel like a lot of young black boys are quick to emotion. You know, I feel like they don't know how to just process criticism. They get offended quite easily and they lash out with emotion. And I think men shouldn't really do that.
So, as far as you're concerned, it's a feminine trait.
Yeah, to be so emotional as a man, you know, and so quick to emotion as a man, I feel like it's quite an effeminate trait. And I feel like it's because a lot of the time, men are raised around women. The young boys are raised around feminine energy. Over 70% of the black household is from a single mother. And I'm saying single mothers are raising young black boys. And those traits of a mother and those traits of a woman are feeding into those young black boys. And a lot of these young black boys are in prison now because they couldn't keep their emotions in check. Something as simple as keeping your emotions in check. And they're off. And then they do something in the moment. And I'm like, but if you knew how to keep your emotions in check, because I've always said war is always the last option on the table. You've got to talk things out first. And I think men know how to calmly talk things out. People may say it's, you know, it's sexist or whatever. I think they can calmly talk things out better than females can.
So who decides what constitutes a feminine trait?
Well, quick to emotion. I think quick to emotion is quite a feminine trait.
Why do we say that? Is it biology? Is it physiology?
Yeah, I think it's. I think women are the more emotional gender. I think that's kind of like a given, isn't it? Like women's hormones, they have mood swings more so than men do. I think they're the more emotional gender, and so for men, I feel like men should be planners. I think they should be more logical thinkers. I think when it comes to am I offending you?
No, I've got something to contribute when you're finished. Yeah.
I think they should be
Yeah.
more headstrong than heartstrong, if that makes sense.
This is very relevant, but I'm going to use myself as an example. About 15 years ago, I was dating a guy. Was it 15? Yeah, 15 years ago, yeah. Make sure I get it right, because if any other exes watch this and think, hold on, who was she talking about? Me. Yeah, but anyway, I remember him describing me as, you act like a man. That was it. So me being me, very inquisitive, please explain yourself. You can't just make that statement and run off. Oh, you're very logical. You plan things out. You're very strategic about everything you do. Men do that.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I've always done that. My sisters do that. We're brought up by mum and dad. He says, no, but I'm telling you that the way you financially plan, the way, even just down to what parties you may or may not go to. He said, it's all very strategic. You weigh things up, pros and cons. And I didn't, although I understood it, to me, I was quite offended by it. I was like, what are you trying to say as a man? But actually, now I understand what he was saying because I'm less emotional.
Right.
I am literally, even now, very less emotional. So there's certain things that I just won't react to. Even if it bothers me, it goes out the window because my thing is it's not that important.
Right.
So I understand what you're saying. The question I do have then is, for women who are more emotional, they lash out. Are we seeing a significant number of them people do things that lead them into situations like young men?
No, because I think men have got more of an aggressive emotion than women. Because men are more aggressive than women are. Just by numbers. Like most people in jail are men. Do you know what I mean? Men are the more aggressive sex over women. So when a man gets emotional, it normally leads to aggression. Hence the reason why so many men beat women or beat up other guys and have fights in the pub on a Saturday night. When men get emotional, men get aggressive. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So when women get emotional, they do get aggressive, but I think when women get emotional, they get more manipulative, probably. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the difference between men and women. So yeah, I believe when men are quick to emotion, they get more aggressive and they're more quick to do something that's going to land them in trouble.
And also, I think because women are the obviously physically weaker sex in terms of strength, they're less of a threat to society anyway.
Right, exactly.
Even if they're angry and aggressive, it's like, what are they going to do?
But women that's why I had a conversation the other day. I said, men's superpower is aggression, and I said women's superpower is manipulation. Because you have to be able, because you're not physically stronger than men, but you still want an outcome. So you're going to have to try and find a way in which to get that outcome, but you can't force him to do it. So you're going to have to manipulate the situation to get that outcome. So, I think women are more manipulative, men are more aggressive.
Okay.